enough. And let's talk about some problems on the back. First of all, we're going to get rid of 4 and 5 back. The possible roots involve that theorem that we decided was silly, the rational root theorem, which said, or the remainder theorem, it said that we were supposed to list off all the factors of the front thing. So, for instance, all the factors of 2, list off all the factors of the constant terms, so all the factors of 20, and then we would have a list of all the potential roots or all the possible roots. And while that's great and lovely, if I've got my handy dandy graphing calculator, I don't need a list of all the possible roots. I'm going to find the for real roots, especially using it and synthetic and factoring all together. So all the possible roots, pass. Last test, we had 2 problems involving this, difference of cubes or sum of cubes, and yet many people missed it. It's on today's math workshop and made the study guide. Clearly it's making the next test as well. Why would you miss something twice on 2 different tests? That seems a bit ridiculous. So if you know you sucked it up on this last time, I'd probably put a star by it and make sure I get it right this time. Okay, that's all I got to say about that. Let's go to your math workshop for today. Needing me some answers. Anyone know the answer to number 8? Yes, ma'am. Yes. A minus 4, A plus 3. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. That was an easy factor. I want to skip number 9 because clearly it's the important one of the day. Because I'm telling you, difference of cubes makes the next test as well. Let's go to number 10. It's a guess and check. Does anyone have a good guess? Yes, dear. Now, he might be right. I know the 2 and the n are set. Like, there are no options for that. He might be right with the minus 3 and plus 3. We might need to change the signs. Or, yes, 3 and 3 are factors of 9, but so is 1 and 9. So he might need this to be a 1 and that to be a 9. So we'll have to literally check him to see if he's correct or not. There are some other guesses possible. Okay, first, 2n squared, outer, 6n, inner, minus 3n, last, minus 9. You combine those middle 2. You do get plus 3n, so he is correct. So, that's impressive. Normally, when I guess and check, I have to guess twice. That's good. And then number 9, which is the difference of cubes. Someone... Brady, did I give you a point for that? I should have if I didn't. Someone please, yes. Drea. H minus 3. Plus 3h. Plus 9. Okay, so let's talk about is she correct or not. First of all, she considered soap. So that was helping her with her signs. Same sign, they're both minus. Opposite sign, yep. Opposite of minus is a plus. Always positive, so her signs are for sure correct. And then we're thinking through h to the third. H raised to the third power is h to the third. 3 raised to the third power is 27. So h, 3, h squared, 3 squared, 3 times h in the middle. Perfect. And she gets her group a point. On the last test, I have so many people who didn't do this and instead did this. Why is that wrong? They are taking the cube root. They took the cube root of both sides, so I don't know how they knew to do that. And the cube root of 27 is 3. And we also got 3. Like if we had set this equal to 0, you and I would have said h minus 3 equals 0. So one of our answers was h equals 3. So, I mean, they do have a right answer, yes. But why is it still, even though they have a right answer, why is it overall wrong? Why is it not what we're looking for? They're not factoring, but also, what are we, this is our 3rd stinking day on this. What degree is this polynomial? What is the degree of the thing in the beginning? So how many answers do we have at the end? And they only have 1. So literally on this next test, don't you think I'm going to be real mad at your paper if you have something degree 3 and you only give me one thing? If you've got degree 3, you better give me 3 things. If it's degree 4, give me 4 things. Okay, so we should set this equal to 0 and factor and figure out the other 2 solutions as well. Because again, degree 3, 3 answers. We've got 1, we need the other 2. Why can I not actually solve this? It's not factorable, and why is it not factorable? What kind of solutions are they? They're imaginary solutions. 2 and 3 get a point. So I know if I could solve this, it would give me 2 imaginary solutions. But I don't require you to solve it because you can't do it with factoring. You would have to use what to solve this? To get another point, you'd have to use the quadratic formula, and I said we're not doing the quadratic formula on this test. However, though, if when you leave me, because you are a very smart class, so most of you should be going on to pre-calculus after this. When you leave me and go on to pre-calculus, you're not going to get to just cop out and not solve. You would have to use the quadratic formula to figure out the actual answers with eyes and the whole 9 yards. We're just in a hurry, as always in life, in a hurry and don't know why. And so we're going to let it go. Be like Elsa. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, let's go to your notes. I'm confused. Are y'all, we worked everything but 6 and 8, right? Yes. Okay, well, I mean, Lord, we got like 7 people out at least. I'm nice. Which one do we want to work, 6 or 8? Be smart now. And why do you want to work 6 and not 8? Yes, and Travis explained it well, so we'll give the 0.5, and she was on it too, so we'll give it 2.5. To the 5th means we're going to have 5 answers. To the 4th means we're going to have 4 answers, so why not pick the one with fewer answers? Should be a little bit easier. If you get brave and want to try number 8 later, because you're just a determined person, which I love about you, you can handle number 8, but you might have to do synthetic twice. The fact of the matter is, the higher the degree, the more work it's going to require. That makes natural sense. The more answers there are, the more work I have to do. So, yes, 6 is the one we should choose if we're trying to be lazy, which we are, because we're Americans, and that's just life. So let's graph 6. 4x to the 4th plus 13x squared. Go ahead and graph it. Let's see what it looks like. What do we expect it to look like? A W, because it's degree 4 with a positive leading coefficient. 3 get another point. But sadly, when I graph it, I don't see a W. I see this hot mess. Now, if I zoomed out enough, I could see a W. But we're really not even focused on, we're excited about the 2 answers we see on the screen. Well, sort of excited. Only partially excited. Yes, so I'm going to go ahead and give 3 another point. They already told me the one answer of -4. Let's check to see if Brady's correct. If we'll press trace and then -4, he is correct. So we know one of the 4 is -4. Yes, Evergrace. What happened?
Oh, no. Okay, so, like, if one of these problems, like, doesn't, you know how it can be, like, missing an x and you have to put in a 0?
Yes.
How would you put that in your calculator? Would you just put it as, like, an x squared right there?
Missing an x and you have to put in a 0. I wouldn't put it in at all. We only have to put it as a placeholder to keep up with stuff. I wouldn't put it in at all. I'd type it in exactly like I had it before with it not in there and everything. You could put 0x to the 3rd, but, I mean, your calculator understands if you don't put it, it's not there. So, it's a good question. You can have a point. Okay, so, again, there are supposed to be 4 answers because it's degree 4, so I'm needing a list with 4 things on it. But, sad day, all you've told me so far is 1. I've still got 3 more to go. Can we figure out another one? Let's see if she's right. Trace, 0. Sad day, no. What about this bad boy? What is he? He's not quite 1. Can we figure him out? It looks like 3/4 and 3/4 sounds good. Let's try trace. 3 divided by 4. It is, which is the same thing as 0.75. So 0.75, and you and I both know that's the same thing as 3/4. So we did figure out that weirdo decimal one. Good for us. Do the other two not exist because I don't see them on the screen? What's the deal with the other two? They have to be imaginary. Avery, get a point. They have to be imaginary. That's why they're not on the screen. They don't cross the x-axis because they're imaginary. Notice every single time when we have imaginary, there's always two imaginary answers. We never just have one imaginary answer. They come in pairs, like Noah's Ark. Okay, so sad day. We still need to figure out the other two. So, you know, number 7 was so great because we figured them all out with our calculator. And darn it, number 6, we're going to have to do some math. What math have we been doing first lately? Let's do synthetic. 2, get your point. You said it first. Let's do -4 in our little house. Our leading coefficients are 4, 13, -8, 13, and -12. When I do synthetic, what should my remainder be? If your remainder is not 0, then that's not a factor, and we've messed everything up. So it has to be 0. +12, -8 is 4, -16, -3, +12, 0. Okay, I brought down my 4. 4 times -4 is -16. -16 and 13 give me -3. -3 times -4 gives me +12. +12 minus 8 gives me 4. 4 times -4, -16. 13, -16 give me -3. -3, -4, I get a +12. And I know I'm right, not because I'm the math teacher, but because it did work out well, I did get a remainder of 0. So I'm completely correct. So my original problem was degree 4. When I use these numbers to write my next answer, what degree should I start off with? 3. You have to start off one less, so it's 3, yes. So 4x to the I don't know who said that. You can have your point. Minus 3x squared plus 4x minus 3. As for this guy, do I put x plus 4 or x minus 4? It's plus 4 because at the end when we set x plus 4 equal to 0, we get that -4. Okay, so again, sad day that we were lazy and we chose number 6 and not number 8. At this point, if we had chosen number 8, sad day is that we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things here. If we have 5 things, can we do grouping? No. But thankfully, we don't have 5 things, do we? We have 4. So we can group. Hot dog. Okay, if we group, what can I pull out of my first group? If I pull out an x squared, I'm left with a 4x minus 3. What do I pull in my second group? Be specific. +1, and I'm left with a 4x minus 3. Again, I'm telling you, I have this girl in first period, and she can do it, but she forgets to put the plus sign, and then this next step just goes all crazy for her. So we already had the x plus 4. Now we have a 4x minus 3, and we also have an x squared plus 1. Are there any questions about where these 3 things came from? Okay, well, since we're not doing number 8, I'm going to write all my junk on number 8. So if we set x plus 4 equal to 0, we would get x equal to -4. Do you have to write that if you understand that? No. But duh, that's where that answer came from. If we did 4x minus 3 equals 0, we would get x equals 3 over 4, which is the same thing as 0.75. So, yep, I know where that answer came from. If I do the last one, x squared plus 1 equal to 0, what will I get as my 2 answers? There we go. 2, get your point. So it's plus or minus I. So I can put plus I and minus I if I want, or I can literally put plus minus I the way we normally do. So I would have x squared equals -1. I take the square root of both sides. I've got x equals plus or minus the square root of -1. We know what that is. We've been using I for that. So x equals plus or minus I. And yay, I know we're done because, again, the problem was degree 4, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 answers. If Drea gets a problem that's degree 4 and she doesn't give me 1, 2, 3, 4 things to look at, she's messed up. I'm mad. Okay, are there any questions about this? We've been doing this for 3 days. 3 days. Because each of these problems takes so stinking long. So you're going to be really sad when I say go to the next page and look at it. Go to the back of the next page. So, for days, literally 3 days, we've been doing, if we are given the polynomial, what are my answers? What are my zeros? What if we went backwards? What if we were told, hey, here are my zeros, what is my polynomial? Can we go backwards? So let me say that again. Right now, we've been, here's my function, here's my polynomial. Can I find my zeros? So what if we instead are given the zeros and we go backwards and we find the polynomial? And you would think, oh God, Miss Compton, you said there's a test on Friday. Why on earth would you tell me another thing? I'm going to explode. And you're actually going to be okay. First of all, we're skipping 4 and 6. We'll save 3 and 5 for tomorrow because Lord knows I can't have them all not knowing how to do that. Although my hint to you on 3 and 5 would be that we just discussed imaginaries must always have 2 answers. So if 2 I is an answer, negative 2 I is an answer. But we can handle 1 and 2 right now. Like that. If 5 is an answer, and like I knew one of the zeros was 5, what should I write here? X plus 5 or x minus 5? And then I should write x plus 2. And then I should write x. Because again, when we set it equal to 0, we end up changing the sign. So negative 5 gives me an answer of positive 5. X plus 2 gives me an answer of negative 2. X plus 1 gives me an answer of minus 1. Are there any questions about this line? So let's go ahead and list out number 2 then. I know it's going to be x plus 4, x plus 3, and x minus 5. And you're going to get most of your points from me on this next test if you were smart enough to realize if those were the zeros, this is the polynomial we were dealing with. Now, is that all of it? No, sad day. I really wish I could say that. Right now we're in factored form. You and I both know the problems we just worked were all in standard. So we're going to have to actually distribute and get the real answers all in standard form. But if we're being honest, Drea already passed the test on this. That was the very first chapter 5 test. We had synthetic and long division on the back. And on the front, we had problems like can you add, can you subtract, can you multiply polynomials. So you've already tested on this. This part should be easy. Okay, so if we FOIL really fast, x squared plus 2x minus 5x plus 2 minus 5 gives me a minus 3x minus 10. Again, I combine the outer and inner in my head. Plus 2 minus 5 gave me a minus 3. If you want to write it out, you can. And then I've got my x plus 1. We're getting close, but we're not quite there. What do I do next? Yes, we're going to distribute. We got to give the x to every single person. So x squared times x is x to the third minus 3x squared minus 10x because we gave it to everybody. But I'm not done. Why is that not the answer? We have to distribute the 1 as well. 3 get a point. So it's going to be plus x squared minus 3x minus 10 because 1 times x squared is 1x squared. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. And fun times, we're still not quite done because we have some like terms that can combine. So I've got my x to the third. Negative 3, positive 1 gives me a negative 2x squared. Negative 10, negative 3 gives me a negative 13x. And then that poor negative 10 doesn't have a friend either. So while it took a minute It's all stuff we already knew how to do. This is the new part, which you can totally handle. This is the part you've already tested on. Yay, we reached the answer. So much faster to go backwards. So much faster. Okay, are there any questions about number 1? Okay, then let's do number 2. So, I don't know why I'm using auburn colors either. My husband will be so proud of me right now. X squared plus 3x plus 4x will be plus 7x plus 12. Now that I've realized that, I've got to swap. I just can't. I'm sorry. X minus 5. I got to give the x to everybody. So x to the third plus 7x squared plus 12x. I've got to give my minus 5 to everybody. Minus 5 times x squared is negative 5x squared. Minus 5 times 7x is negative 35x. Minus 5 and 12 is negative 60. If I try to combine my like terms, I've got my x to the 3, 7, negative 5 give me 2, 12, negative 35 give me negative 23, and then my negative 60 doesn't have any friends. Is it 23? Yeah, it is. But again, this is the new part for Drea. She's already tested on foiling and combining her like terms and everything. She's already tested on those 2 lines. She's already shown me she can do it. She's got her final answer. 12 and 22 did not give me 35. 12 minus 35, right? 12 minus 35. 35. Yeah, negative 23. Oh, okay. Totally understandable. So yay, fun times, we can do this. Tomorrow we'll do 2 with imaginary. It's really not that deep either. I love it when I'm given the zeros. I hate it. Well, I don't hate it, but it takes so much more time when I'm asked to find the zeros. Are there any questions about this? Now is your chance. I'm stopping rambling really early today for you because I do love you. Here's your chance. You got lots of time to work on that study guide that's due on Friday.